I have a job for you.
Jeez, it's not another arc, is it?
No, not again. This time I need a full-scale home renovation.
Noah Construction and Builders is your design and build partner. We do it all, from additions and dormers to full-scale renovations. Schedule your no-cost design consultation today. Visit us online at noahconstruction-builders.com.
Noah Construction and Builders. Through dreams we design, with vision we build.
And welcome to MuscleSport Media Live, WGBB Radio, 95.9 FM, 1240 AM. I am your co-host, Joe Pietaro, and with me tonight is Anthony Tuminello. And, of course, the third seat, we have Jimmy Hoops. My son is brought into the studio as a request from Anthony. And, of course, Trevor, behind the glass. Trevor, never forget you. Without Trevor, you wouldn't be hearing this. So Anthony said, can you get Jimmy to come in? Because Jimmy is very astute when it comes to basketball.
Oh, he sure is.
And he is a fan of the Boston Celtics, but he's very objective. It's not like he's going to just say Boston.
No, he's not fandom. He's smart.
He knows.
He's realistic. And he knows his team is way. They're way superior to the Knicks.
They
at
are.
This point.
And tonight, the Knicks, as we speak, are in the first quarter at the TD Garden Center. They still call it that, Jimmy?
Just the TD Garden.
TD Garden at the old. We were there together a few years ago. So Boston is hosting the Knicks in the NBA playoffs. Of course, Boston is the 2 seed. The Knicks got by Detroit and Boston got by the Magic, and tonight is the first game. What is the score right now, Jimmy, going as we speak live?
Knicks are up 22-21 with 1:32 left in the first quarter.
All right, so it's a tight game. I'm actually a little surprised. If you're a Knicks fan, I guess you have to be happy it's tight, because I really expect this to be a short series. I think it's going to go 5. I'm hoping for 6 because that's what I put. I put a couple of shekels on. But Anthony, I know you're a Knicks fan, but you said also you're realistic.
Yes.
We were in the waiting room.
Of course.
You're being realistic about it, but you were saying you hope they can steal this game tonight. And right now they're playing pretty tight, and we don't know what's going on foul wise and stuff. But right now it looks like they're still, they're playing with the team that this season the Knicks did not win one game in the 4. I still can't believe the division teams only play each other 4 times with the schedule.
You know what?
It's ridiculous.
That's true.
But the Knicks lost all 4 games to Boston. The last one was in overtime at MSG. Opening night, the Celtics blew them out of the house at Boston. So, Jimmy, give us your take on what you think is going to happen in this series. You watch the Celtics, you have the NBA League Pass. You watched every game of this team for I don't know how many seasons now. This team inside and out. They have a few players banged up, Drew Holiday being the main one because he missed the last 3 of the Magic series. So give us a little input on what do you feel as this series recap of what you think is going to happen.
Well, I agree with you where you said you think the Celtics win in 5. I also think they're going to win in 5 games. I just think they're simply the more talented team. The Knicks are good enough to, I think, get 1. Brunson, I'm sure, is going to have a huge game in this series, at least 1. Anunoby, Bridges, Towns. There's a lot of talent for the Knicks, but the Celtics are just kind of a better version of them.
Yeah, what do you mean by better version of them when you say that? It's a very interesting point, though.
They both kind of have somewhat similar play styles. Both are hard defensive teams, and they do shoot a good amount of threes. But, the Celtics, Brown and Tatum are better than Bridges and Anunoby. Towns and Porzingis, both stretch bigs. I just think the Celtics have just a better roster, even though they play similar styles.
And what do you think about that?
They're just bigger. Like they're bigger versions of the Knicks. They bang threes. I don't agree that Porzingis is anywhere close to Towns' talent, but he can be. I mean, when he gets hot, he gets hot. But
Towns is a better player than
100%.
Porzingis, but they both are stretch bigs.
Yeah, absolutely. They both can bang the three. They can beat you in. They can beat you on the outside. Towns being the superior player in that aspect, but the Celtics are big. They're big, and they're not just big. They spread the floor. Once they get hot from three, there's no stopping them. The Knicks, if they can play high powered offense, they could run. The Celtics don't really like to run like the Pacers are a run and gun team. If we could stretch the floor but run 3-4 quick passes, we have a shot. I think it's going to be a better series than people, not just because I'm a Knicks fan, I'm realistic. I think it's going to be a better, more competitive series than people think. Not judging obviously by the Knicks record against the Celtics or any of the three better teams, record wise, that we got blown out. We lost, we went 0 out of 10 against the Celtics, the Cavs, the Thunder, and that was embarrassing. Which was really that said something big about the Knicks, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. However, maybe they learned from those losses. Maybe they have it's not Tibbs' way, but maybe they're going to try to run and gun. We know that the Knicks, have the endurance to do it. I do agree when they say Knicks, Tibbs, he plays all the starters. We have no bench. But the other thing is that's built for the playoffs. If you kind of, look at it that way.
Yeah, teams don't go too deep in the playoffs.
Right, anyway. But the Knicks can, Josh plays, Hart plays 42 minutes like that. Brunson plays 42, what I'm saying? Like nothing. So, it's not necessarily all a bad thing that he's constantly pushing them. But again, this is if they even want to get further than this, they have 12 more games. You know what I'm trying to say? So,
yeah.
I mean, look, I'd like to steal this one. I think it's going to be Celtics in 6. I think it's going to be a better series than people think. That's my opinion.
I mean, the Celtics are obviously the defending league champions.
They're a better team.
They're a better team, and Jimmy even said all year they really didn't put the foot on the gas the whole year. They kind of coasted. They didn't care about the 1 seed. The Cleveland Cavs had the 1 seed. Now they're down 1 game to the Pacers.
Watch the Pacers.
Yesterday.
Watch what the Pacers are.
If you're a Knicks fan, you know about the Pacers from last year. So
they're pesky.
Jimmy, as far as you think of, let's just say, hypothetically, the Knicks can steal a game in Boston. Do you think that does a big change on the series, or do you think it just kind of sets the pace maybe for a 6 instead of a 5?
It definitely makes it more interesting, shifts the pressure on to the Celtics. But last year in the playoffs, the Celtics did drop some games at home in the first and second round. So they've shown they can win on the road. They've been a dominant road team the last couple seasons. So they could go into Madison Square Garden and steal home court advantage back, but it is a tough environment. It definitely would change the dynamic of the series. I still think Celtics would win, but it would be tougher.
It would definitely be a little.
Listen, let's not forget.
Tighter.
I mean, I agree with you that it's a tough environment, but the Pistons obviously didn't care. They beat us on our home court.
Yeah.
We beat them on their home court. So where was the home court advantage there? There wasn't any. So listen, I'm very realistic. Like I said, truth be told, the Pistons gave us more of a problem than we thought. They should have even maybe won the series. If a couple of calls, the Pistons would have won that series. So
I actually thought they were going to upset them at one point.
I did too. Listen, and we got Brunson's heroics, but it shouldn't have to be that way. That's the only thing that bothers me about this team. It shouldn't be. Why did they get Bridges? Why did they get Towns? Why did they break up the Nova boys and all this other stuff? If it's going to be Brunson isolating, trying to make a move, getting thrown on the floor, and trying to get a 4-point play. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. Why is it? We got all this talent. My opinion, With where Towns goes, the Knicks are going to go in this series too. So the Towns really has to have exceptional play. In my opinion.
You figure Brunson's going to beat Brunson. So now you need that second superstar, kind of like the with the Celtics with Brown and Tatum.
Yeah.
You know that 1-2 tandem. That's
they got about 4 just juggernauts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean the Knicks.
You're right.
Towns is their second best player, and he has to play like that, which I think he will. I think he will. I still feel that Thibodeau pushing these guys for too long is, especially if in the series I was tough with Detroit, and then Boston's going to be Boston. Jimmy, Boston, as far as how deep do they go into their bench?
They're deep.
I mean, like regular season aside, let's just concentrate on the postseason right now. That's what we're talking about.
As far as depth goes, I mean, they're going to lean on their starters heavily, just like every team does in the playoffs. But there's really 4 guys who are going to see the floor on the bench. You have Pritchard, who just won 6th Man of the Year.
Deadly from outside.
Sam Hauser, who's a great open shooter, small forward. Luke Cornett has kind of reinvented himself. He went from a stretch big. He doesn't shoot jump shots at all anymore. It's just more of a rebounder, screen setter. And Al Horford. Yeah.
Everybody forgets about Al Horford.
I was just going to say the same
He
thing in my
could
mind.
still make a big shot in a big spot. Al Horford. He's got experience. He's calm, cool, and collective. So they have a lot of good, like Cornette. So now you got 3 guys with size, counting Kristaps Porzingis. 3 guys with size that are good. 2 off the bench for Boston. So the Knicks don't have the size, obviously. Man. I mean, who's there? I mean,
Mitchell Robinson is a decent
how much is he playing? Though?
Yeah, but he's a huge liability offensively. He's a huge.
You foul him, he's never hitting a free throw.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons did a little hack-a-shack with him last round.
That's the problem with him in the playoffs. Can he give you offensive boards? Absolutely. Can he make that extra pass? Absolutely. But he's an offensive liability. You know what I mean?
And how much is he really going to play unless Towns gets into foul trouble?
He was playing. I mean, you're right. I mean, the last game against the Pistons, Towns fouled out, so that's why he was in there the fourth quarter. But he's an offensive liability. And personally, like I said, Towns needs to play not just good. He needs to play exceptional and give us 30 a game, 30 plus a game. But don't forget, we have the intangible. We got Hart speed. He speeds up the game. He does
rebounds from a small guy like that.
No question.
Always in the right place for the board.
Absolutely. And the only problem is, and once again, this is Tibbs, and I know a lot of teams do this in the playoffs. I mean, he buries people on the bench. My opinion, you got Shamet that could bang a 3 here or there. He's never going to see the floor. You got Payne. He'll shoot from Ronkonkoma if he can. You know what I mean? So it's like we got these certain things bother me, certain things don't. Bridges is defensively, he's excellent. He doesn't make big shots. He made a few big shots in the Pistons. I'll give him that in the Pistons series.
He had a good series.
He could definitely make, especially threes. He could definitely make more of them. But my biggest thing is, we can't have the Knicks that we hate. The offensive Knicks that we hate is, let Brunson, everyone stand around while Brunson, goes between his legs 7 times.
Too much talent.
Exactly. So that's what bothers me. That's what bothers me, and that's what we were supposed to obviously make better this year with all those trades. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you brought in Bridges.
I mean, we got Towns. He's the best big man, and arguably the best big offensive man in the league. You know what I mean?
We're gonna get a scoreboard update, but this scoreboard update is brought to you by Noah Construction-Builders.com. No job too big nor small for Pete and the boys at Noah. Make sure you check them out. Go on their Instagram site. You're gonna see some amazing videos with a drone. And some pretty cool background music. Jimmy, what do we got on the scoreboard for this game?
10-18 left in the second quarter. Game's tied at 29-29.
All right. So, hey, not a bad scoring pace for, you just 10 minutes, second quarter just started, and you got some. So they're on a pace, and in this day and age, 100's nothing. But Jimmy and I were talking on the way here. The last time the Knicks played the Celtics was the 13 playoffs, and 1-6, no game either team broke 100 points.
Don't forget,
it's such a different style of play from then to now.
Don't forget, if I'm correct, we were up by 3 in that series.
Right, what was it?
I think we were up.
Knicks had a 3-0 series
Yeah,
lead,
we had
then
a
the
3-0,
Celtics
and then they
won
won
2,
yeah.
and then the
Correct.
Knicks.
And
Now the
then
year before that, Jimmy, I believe we got swept in 4.
I think it was 2011. It was 2 years before.
Yep,
I
you're
think.
right.
Yeah.
by Boston.
By Boston.
Yeah.
Well, that was when they had their.
That was their.
They were dominant. Yeah.
Pearson.
They won in 10.
Celtics lost the 2010 finals. They won 2008.
They won in 8 with the Garnett team. Okay.
Yeah, 11 was our first year back in the playoffs with Melo and.
After the whole.
The big trade and all that
debacle.
stuff. Yeah, but I mean, the 13, we were up 3, riding high. But listen, again, Melo gets praised. Is he a great player? Absolutely, but he wasn't a great Knick in my opinion. But that's another topic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just looking over the years.
Yeah,
there's been some, I mean, the
that's another
Bernard
topic.
King 50-point game was against Boston. I mean, there's so many great, but just obviously focusing on this one here
Yep.
for this year. I just think that Thibodeau, to a fault, is just too stubborn
No
to
doubt.
change his ways and listen to
No doubt.
the boo birds wanting to call for some guys that play some bench time.
He's a one-trick pony, man. And I hate to say it, but he's just as much as he got us certain places and this and that.
Yeah.
He's a one-trick pony, and
That's the way he's coached with the Bulls,
that's
with
it.
the Wolves.
And that was
now
his
with
big. He did the same thing he's doing with Brunson with Jalen Rose. He did the same thing with Brunson. But it is what it is. Listen, what I
He
always
was successful when he was
correct.
healthy.
So, what I listen. Here's what I hope for. I'm an underdog guy. I've rooted for nothing but the underdog, not by choice. But it's entertaining. It's given us something to cheer for. My biggest thing, obviously, is let's not get swept. Let's take them to at least 6. Let's have every game be close. And I think that would be a more successful year and season. If we get swept or if we lose horribly in 5, Tibbs gone. That's my opinion.
It could be. What do you think, Jim?
What do you think, Jim?
The Knicks
I think
lay
if
down
it's
Tibbs
an
goes?
embarrassing series, I think they might move on from Thibodeau.
There's no doubt.
Possible.
Even though I think it's, it's more of a matchup problem.
I agree.
I don't know if there's any coach that would put them over the Celtics, just the talent disparities there.
I don't think.
But it might be-
Auerbach could coach the Knicks past this Celtics team. But if it's,
It might be time for a new voice in the locker room. a new
but
play
also
style.
it depends if they're playing and you can see that there's fatigue or guys are banged up and he just refuses to go deeper than
He's not-
6 or 7.
He's not gonna.
Then maybe you can make the argument that we need to change something going on here. But I also agree. I think the Knicks are, and Jimmy has said this to me all year long. There's a tier at the top of the NBA, and then there's a second tier, and the Knicks are in that second tier, and Boston is at the very
I have
top
to
of
agree.
that other tier. Probably. I don't know. I'm not sold on the Thunder yet either. I know they got a little more veteran leadership than they did last year. They had a great regular season both years. Cleveland, I am not sold on, and we were talking about they got some injury problems already in the series, so they may be a short out. They may be gone early.
I have to
I
agree.
think Indiana's going to upset them. I thought that before these injuries, and after yesterday, I feel it even stronger. I still think Boston is the top team in the NBA in both conferences.
No doubt, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the Thunder's impressive. However, they're not Boston. You got the Nuggets, same concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nuggets got a little more experience.
Yeah.
They've got the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, no doubt, but that's it.
But
You know what I mean?
I think right now, if the Knicks can just play Boston, even if it's a 5-game series, if the Knicks play Boston tough, like the way you said last year, Boston, what was it?
Indiana.
Playing the Pacers last year. Every game was like the last
Yeah,
possession
but
game.
we ran out of steam. We got hurt.
Yeah,
Brunson
but
broke his hand.
But when the Knicks, the Boston played the Pacers last
Yeah.
year, the Pacers played them tough.
They did.
And Boston beat them, but it wasn't. If you look at it on paper, it doesn't. You had to watch the games, and then you see how close these were until the fourth
Pacers
quarter.
got swept, but they still kind of had their
Right
heads,
down to the last
their heads
possession.
held up high because they pushed them. They made them work for that sweep.
They played their
That's
butts
what
off.
that's what we could ask for. That's what, to me, that's successful. It's, my buddy was telling me, but don't you love chips? Don't you love championship? Oh, of course. However, I'm not used to that.
But you got to be realistic, also.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't ever. None of my teams, I could say, are ever dominant. So it's more special to me when again, I'm a fan of Rocky. Give me that Rocky story. Give me that underdog story. I mean, think about that. Here we go with the quotes. Why do I do this? But you think
of sparring partners for Creed.
But that's what we used to. We used to the gritty Knicks in the 90s. We used to the Mets always being the underdog. Okay, 86, I was 7 years old, but
they almost blew it, though.
They almost blew it.
Had to come back in both series.
Exactly.
Houston
the
and
2000
Boston.
Mets, same concept. So, you know what I mean?
Well, they ran into the buzzsaw that
Of
year.
course.
Different,
Right.
2015, they should have.
This is what I'm used to. This is what I love. Give me the grit, give me the blood, give me the sweat, give me the tears, give me all that stuff. Yeah, do I want a chip? Absolutely.
Yeah, but even in '94, the people are, the Knicks should have won that. Houston
Diamond.
loaded.
Come on.
Twin Towers, Sam Cassell.
We can't talk about that because that was Starks' 1 for 17.
Oh, God. Where was what's his name? The guy that got from Dallas. Blackburn. What was?
No, you talking about Harper?
No, not
Derek Harper.
No, there was another guy that was Starks' backup, or whatever. It doesn't matter now. Okay, let's just change gears for a little bit and say somehow the Knicks win this series.
Let's look at this.
I don't care if it's 6, 7, 4, 5. Regardless, the Knicks somehow get through this team, somehow upset, and Cinderella slipper is still on her foot. The Knicks go into the next series. Do they have a chance to beat either Cleveland or Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, if you can beat the Celtics, you can beat either of those teams.
I think so, but will it take so much out of them?
That's a good question.
That's the imagine they get by Boston and then they lose.
Indiana is built to run, man. Indiana is built to run. So listen, that would be our biggest. If that's our problem. I'll take it.
But that would hurt even more than losing to Boston, I think.
No one. I'll be honest. We beat Boston.
You feel like you won the championship?
To me, we won the championship.
It's a mini parade.
You wouldn't. You think about that. When
I know you slay the dragon and then you
listen.
You fall off the cliff.
It's happened before. Look at the Mets last year. Same kind of concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We obviously lost to the Dodgers, but. Think about that run. That's a special year that we'll never forget.
Yeah,
that's just what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not used to being the Yankee fan with the days, the 26. Come on. I'm not used to it. I never was. And that is what it is. So this could be my championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My biggest thing is Boston is relatively healthy. They got one guy that's hurt, really, right? Who else, Jimmy?
Well, Holiday, Tatum, and Brown were all banged up, but they're all
but not
playing.
right now.
Yeah, they're all playing.
They're all playing, but Holiday.
They're probably not 100%, but they're close to it.
Missed 3 games.
Yeah.
So,
But
that's tough.
Right, he's the most hurt out of all of them.
Yeah.
Correct. So if Tatum was hurt, or he's hurt now and he's just chugging along, and same thing with Holiday, like same concept. Hey, look, the Knicks do have a chance, but who knows if we're going to stay healthy? You know what I mean? Brunson's ankle is like rubber band right now, so who knows? But listen, once again, let's be realistic. I'm not one of those. I'm a fandom guy. I have Knicks pajamas. I have 3 socks that are there. I have everything. I'm a fandom guy.
Where do you put the third sock?
Joey. Jimmy, is he like this at home?
He's worse.
It's a family show.
He's despicable. He's actually despicable. This is blasphemy. Trevor, you listening? You listening? Trevor, I love when you...
Come on, you walked right into that, dog. That tree next song.
I meant Paz, Joey.
I know. I'm bringing a little levity to the program, But all right, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
I completely forgot my point. Listen, I got fandom. I got a man den with all the Knicks gear, everything like that. But I'm a realistic Knicks fan. There's a lot of fans that aren't. You know,
You have
but
to be in this situation.
gotta
They're
be.
playing a better team.
That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And basketball is one. Listen, let's not forget. You got the NCAA tournament, right? Anything could technically happen. It's one game, right? Even the Super Bowl, anything could technically happen, right? It's not like that, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that with the NBA playoffs, man.
The better teams with the superstar players usually win.
Although, could we talk about 1999 for a second? Don't forget, the Knicks were the 8th seed.
Yeah, but the Spurs at the end of the day had the superstars.
Right, but the Knicks were the 8th seed.
That was the Larry Johnson 4-point
Correct,
play. That was a great.
We got
fun
past the
run.
Paces.
People said, but that was the strike shorten. I don't care. Everybody was playing with the same.
Why do you gotta ruin it?
But I'm saying, what was it? 51 games? It's not 50 games. It doesn't matter. Everybody played with the same rules. They were the 8th seed. They beat the Heat in that first round with the Allen Houston.
You're darn right. They did.
That was a fun season.
Right, let's talk about it.
Unfortunately, the Spurs were much better, right?
doubt.
Did they have the Twin Towers then still, Jimmy?
Yeah, that was
They had Robinson and they had a young
Tim Duncan.
Pop just
Wake
retired,
Forest.
man.
Pop just retired. Yeah, that team's going to be back too. I'm not changing the subject. Their future is going to be very high with Wembanyama. I think if he didn't get hurt, they would have made the playoffs this year.
I must say though, like Mazzulla is one of my favorite coaches. Just class. He knows what he's doing. You know, besides Kenny Atkinson, who I thought should have been the Knicks coach, but whatever.
Why didn't Nets get rid of him anyway?
Because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving
exactly.
wanted him.
Why did they get them to begin with?
This is what they do.
That's a terrible organization.
Yeah. Coach killers. So was Melo. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Melo was a coach killer.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Atkinson was
aces.
And he was good with that young team that was getting better. And
Aces.
You know,
he won the coach of the year.
Where is he now, Jimmy?
Cleveland.
What are you kidding?
He's the coach of Cleveland. Okay.
Joe,
Well, listen.
knock him off.
I got a magazine to put together. I
That's
forget
right.
these things.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I did. Yeah, the article's done. Don't worry about
Oh, good. I gotta start laying out some stories there. So, okay, what's score update, James?
Celtics are up 40-38 with 7:08 left.
This is the one possession game. Here we go.
Jimmy, as you know, this is going to be all about the third quarter. It's going to be all about the
But
third
listen,
quarter.
I think the Knicks being right where they are is a good sign for them. They're playing with this team.
Listen, they could have been like Tibbs and everybody, his assistants. They could have like, look, we've analyzed those 4 games and they got blown out. Let's not,
Yes.
forget that they got blown out. We've analyzed these 4 games. This is the only way we're gonna beat this team. Now we're not watching, but I'm gonna guarantee the Knicks are running. I'm gonna guarantee.
You think that they're running?
I think they're running. They're not setting tons of plays. I don't think what does Brunson even have, Jimmy? I don't even know how many points he has.
Brunson's got 4 points on 1
Exactly.
of 4
It's
shooting.
amazing.
Exactly.
They're this close with their best player.
So just think about
4
that,
points.
right? So right now he would usually have over 15 points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
20-something
So
a game.
that tells me right there that they're gunning. They're running. That means they're spreading the floor. Who's got the most points, Jim, on the Knicks?
Towns, he's got 10.
What'd we say?
You said Towns
That's it.
is the key to the
That's
whole
it.
series.
That's it.
I still think a guy like Derek White is going to be a big part of this series. Somebody you're not thinking about, but does all of those little things right.
Like Josh Hart, man.
Josh Hart too,
That's
but
it.
Jimmy, he's a big fan of White, and he's kind of like the new Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was doing this on the Celtics.
But White's a better player.
He's a better player.
Although Smart was good, White's a way better shooter.
Yes,
That's what
but
separates
Derek
them.
White is the kind of guy. He's a great defender.
Derek White's he's a thorn.
He's a great defender. He could score. He plays full court basketball.
No doubt.
He's not like watching.
Celtics picked him up for cheap at the trade deadline.
I mean,
years
it's just
ago. The whole league could have had him.
Yeah, I mean that organization with the coup they pulled with the Marcus Fultz and Jason Tatum draft thing with the Sixers. It's just it's a thing of beauty of how they were able to pull that off. They convinced Philly they were going to pick Markel Fultz. Right?
And they had no interest.
They didn't want anything to do with him. They wanted Tatum all along.
Who's the word?
Right? And they picked up, what did they pick up in that trade besides the swap?
Picking up a pick from the Kings, and they ended up using on Romeo Langford, who was a bust, so it ended up not being a huge deal, but you still
But they got their guy at 3 that...
Yeah, you still got your guy.
Who won 2 that year?
Lonzo Ball.
Okay, all right. Well, it's hard to give him he's an incomplete because of all the injuries.
Celtics,
I like him,
Celtics
though.
are on a bit of a run. They're up 8 now.
Oh boy.
How much time is left in the quarter?
5:48. Still a lot
That's a lot of time, man. That's a
Lifetime
lot of
in
time.
the NBA, especially
That's a lot of
for a big quarter like, second quarter and fourth
We
quarter.
just jinxed it. We just jinxed it.
Listen, both teams are going to go on runs. The Knicks are going to have a run tonight somewhere. It depends on what the score is when that run happens and how do they let that affect the rest of the game. I still feel that there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're a Knicks fan and they lose this series. I don't think they're going to get swept, but even if they did get swept, as long as they play hard.
No, if they get swept, Tibbs is gone, and I'm disgusted.
Well,
I don't care if they play hard. That's 4 losses. You lose 4 games in a row, there's nothing to be proud about.
We'll see what happens tonight, but it is almost time to go, so we're going to have to wrap this up. Going to have to leave it there. Interesting show, of course. Jimmy Hoops, thank you for coming in and
Jimmy's the best,
Stern Mike. He's a kid. Knows
Jimmy, you know your stuff, boy.
He knows his sports. He should be on Sports Jeopardy. But that's going to do it for us this week on MuscleSport Media Live and WGBB Radio. Make sure you check us out on MuscleSportMag.com. And, of course, get some Kingdom Supps, SUPPZ.com. Anthony's company, they got some great supplements, war potion, sleep potion.
Hydra potion?
Hydra
Okay,
potion.
I'm drinking it now.
Make sure you go to Kingdom Supps with
I know, Trevor's like, where's mine? You've been promising me my supplements.
I want my stuff. We'll see you guys next Monday. Very good job, James.
Jimmy, you're phenomenal.
Noah, I have a job for you.
Jeez, it's not another arc, is it?
No, not again. This time I need a full-scale home renovation.
Noah Construction and Builders is your design and build partner. We do it all, from additions and dormers to full-scale renovations. Schedule your no-cost design consultation today. Visit us online at noahconstruction-builders.com.
Noah Construction and Builders, through dreams we design, with vision we build.